Hey everybody, thanks for coming and hanging out with me today. Well, it's night, but I'm getting ready for my project, so I'm excited to teach you how to do a sun, moon mandala on a piece of furniture, and I'm glad you've come out to play. So let's go paint. First we have to sand it. Start with an 80 grit and then move down to a 220 grit to get a smooth surface. So I'm gonna do my best to recreate what I did on my coffee table for the watercolor look on wood. Let's get started. I'll list all these below. So let's start by saying the palette that I use is a lid to a Chinese takeout dish. Tupperware lids tend to show up magically and have no bowls, or vice versa. So I use the extra Tupperware lids for my paint palettes because it works out well. And put a little bit of each paint on there, probably about a quarter size or a thumb size, whatever you're gonna say. Give yourself a little bit of room to play. See, there you go. Grab you a brush. That is probably a 1-inch brush. That is, in that little jar, is water for me to clean my brush with. And what I'm splashing on the surface is clean water. Just splash the water around, get the surface really good and wet, and grab some paint on your brush and start messing it around. The more water you add, the thinner it gets, the more of the watercolor effect you're gonna get. Add some more pretty color. Ooh, the pretty colors. Add those and use your fingers. Use a sponge. You see how it looks a little mixed up down there? It looks like, to me, it looks like a storm. It looks like a really colorful storm cloud. I also add accent colors like yellow and green in these because I get a little obsessed with blues. I've got a lot of colors of blues, and adding the blue and the green gives it a little contrast to a little pop, I guess, what you would say. If you don't like the way something looks, throw a little bit more water on it, grab a paper towel and wipe it off. It comes off really easily right now because the paint is so fluid because you have the surface so wet. So now in another random spot, you see it's just random, throw some water down and do exactly the same thing. My dog had to come over and check out what was going on. She's like, hey, what you doing? Is that my water? Nope, can't have it. Nope, not for you. All right, throw some more paint on there. Try not to mimic anything, water it out. You also can put water on the surface. You see the edge where the water is? You can put water away from that and it will pull the paint to it in a thinner manner. You'll notice in a minute, see I'm just adding water here and kind of messing it up because there's like little clumps. And I'm throwing that water on there kind of a little further out because it will pull the paint out thinner and give it more of the watercolor effect. And I really want it to thin it out. See how it naturally just moves on its own? You don't even have to do anything. So you'll find it interesting. I try to get 5 or 6 colors that are the same to do this, and then 1 or 2 contrasting colors, because if you try to mix too many colors, you'll end up with a brown if you mix it up too much. So play around a little bit, see what happens. Okay, so now we have to let it dry. The water is absorbing into the wood better than I thought, probably because I roughed it up with the sandpaper a little bit. That means the paint is gonna absorb, it's gonna lighten up the colors that you see, or I guess I should say mute the colors that you see. They'll still be there, but they'll be faint. So I decided to mark this while I was waiting on it to dry. It is 26 inches, so I'm putting mark at 13 inches. I wanted to show you a little bit about these designs. If you look at these are all just patterns. It's circles and circles and circles and circles. And what's important is what you fill the circles with. And I don't mean important like you need to overthink it. Just put a pattern in it. It's circles filled with patterns and patterns and patterns. Any of the designs in these, no matter what shape it is, it's more about the filler than it is about the accuracy. So you can have some triangles and squares and circles and flower shapes and squiggly marks, and it doesn't really matter what fills the space. It's just consistency in the pattern. You have dark circles and light circles. With those designs like that swirly right there, you just draw a line and then you fill it in. You add to it a little bit at a time. So what I've got here is a bowl and a plate I'm using for my moon and my sun. Grab whatever you've got around the house that you feel like is a good shape for your moon and your sun. You'll want some room to play around with the shapes, one quite a bit smaller than the other one. I decided to use a pen to mark this on here since this is going to be outside and I'm not really concerned about seeing marks, but the pencil mark was not showing up very well. You'll need a couple of brushes. So this is my dotting tool. It's, I'm not even sure what it's really used for. I have a small head brush, a small angle brush, and a larger angle brush. You can use the end of a paintbrush to make dots too. You don't necessarily have to have the dotting tool. Let me just go ahead and say something right here. I didn't notice this until a few minutes in. I say a few minutes and you'll see. The sun intruded on my space today when I was trying to record this for you guys. You can see the beginnings of what I'm doing, but as I start getting a couple layers into it, you really can't see anything. My deepest apologies. So I'm just going to edit that right on out. So if you'll notice on top of that circle, I'm just making lines. Like little rays of the sun that shoot out. And then I'm making lines from the end of one line to the other, like connected dots, to make the next circle. And this is pretty much how you make the circle grow. Whatever shape you add, you just connect it all together with the lines to the next circle. You'll see what I mean. Play with it. And here I've decided that I'm going to make the moon the navy blue color. Because this wood is a little dark, I feel like the silver's not going to show up very well. So we're going to start with the navy blue and outline the shape. And then I'm going to start building from the fattest point to the smallest point, and you'll see it's a basic shape. If you feel more comfortable sketching this out, you can sketch it in pencil. You can also sketch it in chalk because it wipes off pretty easily. Keep in mind, chalk will get in your paint and you'll have to clean your brush a lot. So if you're going to use chalk, just keep that in your mind. This is where I was talking about sketching it out. I draw these a lot, so it's kind of easy for me, and you'll notice these do not match. They are not symmetrical, they're a little wonky, and I'm okay with that. The next thing I'm going to do is add a little pattern in between those big shapes. It's like two little rainbows, and you see where I'm pointing in between each one. You'll see me draw a little rainbow and another little rainbow. There you go. It's like a double rainbow. And then I'm going to do like some flower petals above it, just to kind of fill it in. Once again, it's just pattern. Remember, guys, pattern. So I'm going to do this and let you guys watch. Now the design I'm going to use to fill in those open spaces is sort of a circle. It's never complete. It's just randomness. I grab some paint on the brush and do half circle to make the whole circle. It's not completely dark, it's not completely light. It looks like it's slapped together, and I do them randomly and then piece them together with circular lines. And you'll see it'll fill up the void really quickly, and it shows as a nice pattern. So you can use a dotting tool, you can use erasers, you can make a darker to lighter pattern. You can use any pattern you want to. This is just mine of choice, so enjoy. I've decided here to do the outline of the moon in silver. So I'm going to do the inner ring in silver, and then I'm going to sketch out the outer ring in silver. If you want to sketch it out on the outside with pencil, I think I did it with a pen on here, so you feel more comfortable. I'm just kind of guesstimating a little bit on where I want my moon to be, and I'm barely drawing on here just to give myself a guide. So when I start with the silver paint, I do the outside, and eventually I'm going to fill that in with silver. Watch and see. So I'm going back right here, and I'm going over the silver again. It absorbs, silver for whatever reason tends to absorb to a faint color in wood. So I'm going back over that. Once I go over that, because I'm being kind of sloppy about it, because I know I can fix it easily, I'm going to pull the navy back out and straighten up what I went over with the silver, because I want the silver to shine a lot and I want it to show really well. Let me know if you have any questions, but I think it turns out really well. All right, now that you've finished your design, you're gonna seal it. You're gonna use the Poly water-based seal, or that's what I use. Make sure you have a sponge on the stick so that you can get on there evenly. Put a thin coat on, wait 24 hours. Put a second thin coat on, wait 24 hours, and then put a third coat on. My advice is after that, don't sit anything on it for about a week. Follow the instructions on the poly that you choose, on the sealant that you choose, but in my experience, a week, then you're safe. You don't want to sit a coffee mug on it and make a ring in your design or something like that, especially after you put in all that hard work. So I'm not going to seal mine yet. I'm going to do a couple more things to it. I'm going to put another design on it, and I'll video that one too, because that's going to be a little different. I think you'll like it. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching. If you like this, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, because I am about to blow your mind. I'm gonna make all kinds of things so you can make all kinds of things too. Thank you. Bye.